Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-host and commentary, Ashton. I'm inviting all of you, recline back your chair, retire all your cares, because we're here to bring to you our Monday Night Raw review. And I gotta say, we're back in the review saddle. Who says you can't go home again? Because we're doing it. And honestly, not a bad Raw tonight. I was grateful that we were going back to reviews because, as I've made it quite well known, either in catch-up commentaries or live reactions or what have you, I have been totally checked out with Raw. On one end, for very personal reasons, speaking out has left a very bad taste in my mouth. I have felt very disillusioned with what I guess you could say with a broad brush Western wrestling. And then I think more microcosmically, I've just been disillusioned with the WWE product for a long time. I feel like they underpush certain acts, they overpush certain acts, and just everything in the middle. It's like, yeah. So reviews gave me a good chance to reconnect with the product, to really watch it bell to bell. And not only did I watch, I was responsible for a change and I took notes. And I've got to say, on the whole, if I was to put a numeric scale to this Raw, I think I'd give it an honest 7 out of 10. And I think the only reason it wasn't a bit higher was because, 3 hours to me is always going to be too long. And WWE even kind of admits that when they have certain people in more than one segment. But I think on the whole, what was good was really good. And there are 3 acts that I really enjoyed on Raw tonight, maybe 4. And, the other stuff was like, okay, but eh. But enough from me. I just wanted to kind of give a really comforting intro there. Let's hand it over to my cohort and commentary here. Ashton, how you feeling right now, bud?
Bro, I feel like we're about to start doing fucking ASMR with the way that you're being all sultry.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
It's not a bad fit, right?
I know. I feel so chill. I laid back in my seat. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be like fucking chill as hell. We're going to be able to talk about the show. Neither one of us feel like pent up rage about the show. Neither one of us is like overly pissed off. Neither one of us is overly enthusiastic either, admittedly, because it's funny because as you were saying, if I had to give this a number grade, I had in my mind 6.5 and you gave it a 7. So we're still pretty much in sync with each other with me being just a smidge lower than you, which is very typical even for our pay-per-view previews.
Absolutely, brother. I think I'm chill because, look, you and I, we really game plan this. I feel so excited. We got Cliff in the chat, Mark, Craig, Dominique, Sean. These guys are ready. And I'm like, you know what? We're not going to mire ourselves in negativity. Like I told you, really, I wanted to go back to basics because I remember what set us apart from those other people, that they claim they're good, but, they don't own a mirror. So, it's whatever. And, it's that we're more positive, or we try and be. And if we can't be positive, we own it and we move on from it. I think there is quite a bit to be positive about this show. One act in particular, you knew I was like itching to talk about here tonight.
And we've already gotten like 5 or 6 messages in chat praising said act.
Yeah, as it should. Put like 2 zeros in front of that number. Jesus Christ. And I'm not just talking about the paychecks either, Daddy. That dude is fucking owning shit.
If we're talking about the paycheck, try like 6 or 7 zeros at least.
Brother, that's correct. That is correct. So yeah, I'm happy, man. I'm happy we're here. I'm happy you're here. I want us to keep this energy, and I don't want this to be a one-time thing either. I want to keep bringing this energy every week for as long as I can. So let's just hope that the product can help me out. So, brother, do you have any other preliminary remarks you want to make? Because I'm just so jazzed up before we really get into this.
I'm just going to sit back and let you coast us smoothly to our next segment.
All right, well then let's be calm and cool, but turning up the heat just a tad, because it's heat of the night, but I don't think we're going to linger, because honestly, while I have concerns, I'll say, which again, I don't want to get too mired into, so we'll see, this is our test run, right? We'll see how well we do not getting mired in negativity. I really don't have a heat of the night. I wasn't raging. I wasn't thinking, wrestling, I'm so angry. So what about you, man? How are you feeling?
So I'm kind of looking this as an establishment episode because we haven't done any real reviews in so long. Granted, we have, last month we did do a catch-up commentary, but that was before they started really building the Survivor Series. So I'm using this as my opportunity to just say that my heat of the night, my heat of the week, my heat of the month is the build to Survivor Series. It's going to stay that way the entire way until Survivor Series. It's not going to change, but I'm saying it now to get it out of the way so that we can stop, so that I can stop complaining about it, because I just feel like it's something I need to get off my chest because I fucking hate it.
I think that complaint is wholly justified. I think the only good thing they do with the build personally is when they kind of throw up in the air who the champions are going to be going into the show. That's it. And even then you could say that maybe they don't take that to its full degree, but given that it's your heat of the night, I mean, do you have anything that you want to say in response to that, or like go into it a little bit?
In response to what exactly?
Well, just me saying the one good thing that they do, or if you want to kind of like elaborate on the bad things
that
they do.
So there's a lot that I have to complain about regarding this build, which is why I just kind of encapsulated the entire build in one heat of the night. So first of all, the champion versus champion matches are somewhat intriguing, but completely stakeless. So I'm not necessarily a big fan of the fact that we don't have any kind of real consequences. It doesn't really matter who wins those matches. And you can't even say like, oh, that title is more prestigious then or anything like that. Because to me, a title's prestige doesn't come from, oh, I beat another champion. It comes from quality and quantity, both. It's not one or the other, right?
Right.
So, and then the second thing is the actual tag matches that we're building to. So we have got 5-on-5 matches that are supposed to be for brand dominance and brand pride, right? But who is on Team Raw right now? We've got Keith Lee. Okay, we're off to a great start. Keith Lee is a Raw guy. He debuted on Raw. Granted, he's only been on Raw for maybe, 3 or 4 months now. But he is a Raw guy. He started on Raw. He's been on Raw his entire main roster career so far, right? But then we get to literally everyone else. All 4 other guys on Team Raw. AJ Styles came from SmackDown. Braun Strowman came from SmackDown. Riddle came from SmackDown, and Sheamus came from SmackDown. We've got 4 dudes going to war for the Raw brand who were on SmackDown a month ago.
Yeah, so it's just a disconnect from you, like how you guys can feel so loyal to a brand when you've literally been here for a cup of coffee. And I understand that. I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and it's not even just that either. There's also, again, we have the same issue as the title versus title matches, which is the lack of stakes. We don't really have any reason to care who wins these matches because there are no consequences for winning them, and there's no consequences for losing them. There's no real motivation there. So then when it goes from, okay, well, if you don't have any real reason to try and win the matches, it really does boil down to pride, at which point you're fighting for a brand that you've been on for a month. So it's like everything kind of funnels its way down into the complaint that I just highlighted, talking about how these guys were just on the other brand a month ago, right?
Right, exactly.
And on SmackDown, who all is on Team SmackDown? I know, wait, not Sammy. No, who's on Team SmackDown? Do we know already?
We got Jey Uso.
We
got Kevin
Seth.
Owens.
Seth, Kevin, and then who else?
King Corbin.
Is there a 5th already, or do we only know 4?
I think we only know 4. Guys, if we have a 5th, if you could fill us in, because I genuinely don't know. I only know about Jey, Kevin, King Corbin, and Seth.
Okay. But we do know that Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins were just on Raw a month ago. So again, it's not as extreme of a problem on SmackDown as it is on Raw. But we are currently looking at 6 dudes out of 10, which literally is a majority. It's a super majority, actually. You know, it's 3/5, 6 out of 10 dudes are on brands that they've been on for less than a month at this point.
Yeah, I think, again, your complaint is entirely valid, and I don't have anything like to add to it that you haven't already said.
Yeah. So the only other sort of part of the Survivor Series build that I'm encapsulating in this that I really don't want to talk about anymore is that they are building so much around The Undertaker and his, I believe, is it his 30th anniversary?
I believe it's 30th anniversary, bro.
Right. That whole thing is just gross. I just don't care. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see The Undertaker anymore. I want him to just disappear into the history books where he fucking belongs.
Since you broached this subject, I'm just going to take this opportunity to highlight one of the notes that I took tonight just to get this out of the way and rip the Band-Aid off. Does anybody else think this whole final farewell thing they're building up to Survivor Series could be a work of some kind for like a bigger?
I think they're going to
WrestleMania
build to
angle?
another match. It might even be against fucking Goldberg again.
Dude, you know what? Honestly, I'd prefer Goldberg over, some people that I'm fearing. I thought maybe they would do the Sting match finally because I know fans have been
Didn't
clamoring
somebody
for that.
mention The Undertaker on SmackDown this past week? I forget.
They might have, brother. I couldn't tell you one way or the other because I don't.
I feel like somebody last week, it might have been on Raw, it might have been on SmackDown, but I feel like somebody last week mentioned The Undertaker by name when they were listing people. They might have, I think it might have, was it Orton maybe? Because I know he listed like Orton, or he listed like Drew and The Fiend and stuff. Did he list The Undertaker in his list? Are we going to get Undertaker versus Randy Orton for the world title?
Oh God, I'm personally hoping not. That's not a match I'm really interested in seeing. I know my concern because they're really building up the Undertaker's career and everything. Best case scenario, we get a cinematic match with Sting, and I do say best case because I do think those guys could genuinely do something good with cinematics.
Right.
Worst case, because they're making the whole hullabaloo of like, oh, what a long career and this and that. I don't think WWE would do this given Undertaker's name value, but I'm also thinking like he never did formally go out on his back. I would hate for them to like use this to put over a monster character that's a heel like Lars. Like Lars, for whatever reason, immediately came to my mind.
God.
Yeah, dude. I just wanted to float around, not to take up too much time, because again, I know you said you didn't want to talk about this after this, but I figured since you broached it, it'd be the perfect time for me to air my concerns that I'm wondering if this is a work and what they're going to do if it is a work. And I'm hoping it's just another Legends match and we can all, go home happy. But if they're going to use this to be like, hey, Lars, destroy him or whatever, which I only put out there again because he never really went out on his back. It concerns me, to say the least. It concerns me.
The last match that he wrestled was the fucking graveyard match at WrestleMania this year.
Exactly, which he went over in. He won that match. So
which also feels like it happened 3 years ago.
They do, dude. Pandemic time is a hell of a drug.
It's fucked me up so bad.
So, I guess, is there anything else you want to say, like, about any criticisms you have, so we could just smooth sail right on through this review?
No, I think that's like the big thing that's just been weighing on my mind, and the fact that I was able to get all of that out in one singular heat of the night really paves the way for us to have a nice smooth night talking about what we actually enjoyed.
Brother, I think you did an excellent job there. I've got no contentions and again nothing to add, so let us get right into our Monday Night Raw review. And we open with Miz TV. And essentially, Miz and Morrison, they're high on the hog, man. They got the Money in the Bank briefcase. They hold all the cards. They're talking about how they almost cashed in on Orton last week. And then Orton comes out, and I'm just going to get ahead of this. Orton was one of my favorite parts of Raw tonight. And I never thought in 2020 I'd be saying that unironically. But I really love, since Survivor Series is kind of a nothing burger of a pay-per-view, right? I at least love that they're keeping Orton's title reign interesting, especially if Endgame is Edge at WrestleMania, which you already know that I'm against, and maybe there will be a more appropriate time to get into that. That they really are doing the whole dynamic of he's so established in his career. I mean, he's been with the company almost 20 years. I think it's going on like 18 years in the business now because he came in 2002. It's his 14th world title reign, and he's being hunted by everybody. I mean, Miz, Fiend, Drew, and the energy of his promo, you could tell like he's cracking like an egg, baby. Like it is getting to him, right? And he's roasting Miz. He's like, I remember when you cashed in, and he goes to Morrison and he says, and you left and you wrestled for the minor leagues. And you know what this brought to mind, and I said this in my notes, I wish WWE would turn up the volume on this, and I think they'd have the talent to turn up the volume on this. I just don't know if they necessarily have the writing. This feels a little bit like Stone Cold's Paranoid Rattlesnake title run in 2001. Except I think it's better for Orton here because Orton wasn't, even for as beloved as Orton was, because I remember the years when he would get like big pops in like 2010, I think, like late 09, 2010. Right. I don't think he was ever Stone Cold level, right? So Stone Cold being a heel was always weird. But a Randy Orton that's paranoid about every challenger, looking over his shoulder, but at the same time competent, like he can obviously take care of himself. Right. That's compelling TV to me because he's roasting these guys, and then New Day comes out, and Xavier and Kofi. I mean, I miss the trio, and they clearly miss it too because in the main event they did a cool little cheer before a dive, for Big E. But we'll get to that way later in the show. Woods is still great on the mic. I know I give Woods in a comedic way a lot of grief because he's an amazing seller on some real shit. He's a great talker, oozes charisma, and Kofi is just very endearing as a performer. That's why Kofi Mania was wildly successful. So they're going and they're, running down Orton, and they're just talking about, because it's a big 6-man tonight. It's going to be Drew and the New Day of Kofi and Xavier versus Orton and the Dirt Sheet Duo and Miz and Morrison. I love that Orton doesn't even fucking wait, bro. He lays Xavier out. Like, Xavier gets in the ring and he's getting ready to say something, and bam!
Yeah.
RKO.
Yeah, just immediately.
Dude, like, again, I never thought I'd say this in 2020, and maybe I'm drunk on, like, this new era of TWitWoW of us, like, getting back to basics and doing these reviews, but, like, Orton, to me, killed it tonight. Like, it was believable that this guy is mentally frayed at the seams, because it's like, oh my god, I can't freaking breathe. And so he takes him out. Kofi gets thrown out by Dirt Sheet Duo. Then Drew tries to come in, put the boots to Orton. I've still been loving the intensity of that. I think the feud's going on a tad too long for me, but I'll give both guys credit. At least they're still acting like they fucking hate each other, as they should. Yeah. And it's still believable that every time they get in there, right, it's immediately dropping bombs. But, Miz uses the briefcase against the back of Drew, which makes sense because Drew fucking screwed Miz over last week, said nobody's going to take the WWE title from Orton but me, and then they set Drew up to get RKO'd as kind of a way to show that, like, hey, we've got unity with you. Because one thing that I forgot to mention, and I apologize, Miz and Morrison were trying to smooth things over with Orton because, again, Orton's just so paranoid. They're like, hey.
And they were kind of doing that all night.
Exactly. Like, hey, if we're able to get on the same page, you're able to send a message to Drew, and we're able to get in line for a Raw Tag title matchup. So them kind of offering Drew up the way that they did, that was kind of their act of solidarity. Orton's like, fuck this. He leads the charge, leaving with the WWE title over his shoulder. And it was a hot segment. I thought it was a great tone setter for the rest of the show. And I think it was momentum that honestly could have carried itself forward if it wasn't a 3-hour program. So yeah, man, I've got nothing but praise for this and everybody involved. And that pretty much mirrors the main event. It's kind of like a circle that eats itself. These 6 guys were great. Yeah. So, good shit all around.
I don't want to spend this whole time hearing you be positive and me complaining, but I do just want to kind of say, and I think I actually said this while we were watching the show, this first segment kind of annoyed me because, and I think it's exclusively because they announced that this 3-on-3 match would be happening before the show. So this entire segment, which went like, I think 15, 20 minutes, felt completely pointless because it was like, okay, we know this match is happening. What's the point of this segment happening at all when we're just going to get the 3-on-3 match at the end of the show anyway? Because, like, to me, I feel like you either open the night with nothing announced and you'd use something like this to create your main event, or you announce it ahead of time and then you don't see any of those guys interacting with each other until the main event.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think if I could give a defense, which I don't even really feel inclined to defend this, I do think your criticisms are valid, but if I could just offer a counterpoint, I would say maybe it's like a direct lead in from how the show ended, because the show ended with Drew standing tall, taking care of Miz and Morrison, and Orton being hunted. And then, it opens with like Miz and Morrison again feeling proud of themselves. So I guess knowing the 6-man's happening, Orton just feels like, okay, I'm getting in front of this shit now, and I'm setting this team straight now. If we're going to be doing this main event tonight, right, I'm not going to waste one more second. So I think it was more, it's funny that you even mentioned this, dude, because when you think about the nature of Survivor Series and like a lot of team-based matches, but of course nobody does team-based matches like Stardom. Hopefully we'll be doing one of those shows very soon. They've been on a roll. I would say the theme of this Raw was like discord. Like no team could really get along tonight, unless of course you were like the New Day or whatever. Right. Like a lot of teams had like internal strife and discord with them, and this actually was proof of that, like right out of the gate, because like Orton didn't want any of their shit, and obviously Miz and Morrison have ulterior motives. So if I could offer like any counterpoint, it was probably because character-wise, Orton's just so like on edge that he's going to confront them head on. He's not going to let anything stew for like later in the show. He's like, hey, we're doing this. You better know. I'm the WWE champion. I'm in the driver's seat. Get your shit together. But I do understand where you're coming from, because I think it would have made more sense if like we didn't know about the tag match. We do the segment, we go to commercial like we always do, and then we come back and like Byron or Tom, right? It's like, oh,
dude, I almost feel like they would be so much better off if they just wouldn't have announced the 6-man tag before the show, because they could have literally had the exact same opening segment, have like fucking Adam Pearce or something come out and announce the 6-man tag after the confrontation, the physical confrontation happens, and then they get the graphic up and it's like, this is our main event tonight. To me, that's a way better way of doing it than announcing it ahead of time and then doing the first segment like the way they did that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mark even said in chat, maybe they did this because they originally announced Drew to be on a Moment of Bliss, but they changed it for some reason, and that's why I will say only.
And that's actually the message that I read that led me to say what I said, because it's like I actually didn't necessarily know that they had made that announcement, so it would make sense that you would want to have something on your TV show to explain why that's not happening and why something else is happening with the guy that you originally planned to do that. But then don't announce it ahead of time. Just announce it on the show while it's happening so that it's like, oh man, plans are changing. This is crazy. We're getting this big 6-man tag now to the main event. Like, it adds excitement to the show, and it's like, it's less predictable then. It's less like, well, what is, that's always been a big pet peeve of mine when they announce something before the show and then use a segment on the show to set the thing up that they already announced to be happening and act like they didn't already know it was going to happen.
Right. And again, I think it's just a testament, just to say very quickly in passing, that, the internal disorganization of WWE, you could see how it reflects on the product. I mean, I personally can't stomach AEW personally, but they have a full card that they more or less commit to, and they pump that shit out and they advertise. If you're changing shit like 5 minutes before you go live, you're not going to be able to promote your material as effectively as you could if you did have like a coherent, strong vision that you're like, okay, guys, here's what we're doing from A to Z for the 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you're using this as an opportunity to praise AEW, and I was thinking about how like stupid it is that they'll like book matches and announce matches and like run storylines and shit off TV, which is one thing that the WWE did right here, was set the matchup on TV.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So I've got nothing else to say here. Do you?
Nope. Go ahead.
Okay, well, we got the promotion for Undertaker's Final Farewell. We already talked about that at the end of the night, so moving right along. We have Elias pretty much talk about how he had a premonition, because this is a last chance match to join Team Raw Survivor Series. It's going to be Elias versus Jeff Hardy versus Matt Riddle.
Yep.
Elias more or less says he had a premonition of him beating Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle. I will just say as an aside about Elias, again, I'm never going to stop using this platform to praise this dude. He has a great fucking look. And I love, and I've said this to you in conversation before, I love how much he genuinely embodies his gimmick. Like, his album, Universal Truth, was a genuinely fun, gimmicky experience. Like, obviously, it's not going to be taken, like, seriously on a musical level, but the dude can genuinely sing competently enough to put an album together, play the instrument. Like, I love that. I love that it's not necessarily a comedic gimmick like a honky-tonk man.
I was really surprised when you told me that it was, like, a really religious thing.
Yeah, that surprised me too, man. It definitely had like a religious character. Let me ask you, man, since you kind of said that, did you go back and did you listen to any of the songs at all?
No, I never bothered, because like I just have no interest in listening to the religious stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't presented like in a bad way. It just,
plus,
I guess
my mom listens to it, and I kind of sometimes am able to hear it through her headphones, and it just kind of sounds like typical Elias music to me. So.
Right. I mean, I don't know, dude. Maybe I overstated it or misstated it with a religious guy. That's just how it came off to me in my listening experience.
No, she actually agrees. Like, my mom obviously fucking loves Elias, but she actually kind of doubled down on what you said. And when I said, it was when John said that it was really religious, was he, going blowing it out of proportion? She said, no, it's pretty religious. So
yeah. Yeah, that surprised me. I mean, but you know what though, dude? It was genuinely solid music for a guy that, like, I wouldn't hold it against him if he couldn't sing, right? Because he is a heel and stuff like that. But it's a genuinely well-packaged gimmick. He's a solid and safe worker. And this is just all from my notes, by the way. And I said he seriously, in all caps, could be one of the greatest mid-card champions of all time if they'd give him the ball. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a shame, man. But,
well, dude, you mentioned Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man was the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time for a really long time.
Yeah. Oh, my God, yeah.
I would definitely... really, really dig if Elias got that kind of a run.
And dude, I think as a babyface, he could go a little bit further. I don't know if I would necessarily go like WWE champion far, but like if he was one of those guys that would get a shot at the world champion as a babyface, dude, I think the crowd would be so behind him, like they were when Rusev finally got that one-off title shot. I think against I think AJ was the champion at the time when that happened. So yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to really just praise Elias, to walk with Elias, if you will. And then we get our triple threat match, Elias versus Hardy versus Riddle. Not a bad match, a good back and forth. I would say the worst part of it for me, and I don't know if you'd co-sign onto this, bro. I don't even know, again, if you saw it the way that I did. I thought the Jeff Hardy, Matt Riddle sequence towards the end of the match was horrible, dude. Like, you could very easily tell that, in my mind, Jeff couldn't keep up with Riddle at all.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad.
It's really sad when you see that stark of a contrast where, like, it's one dude who's just in his fucking prime trying to go full speed and the other dude just blatantly slows him the fuck down.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've seen that from some women's matches where it'll be like a Joshi versus someone that was trained by WWE, and it's like, oh god, this is brutal to watch.
Yeah, dude, it really is. And like, it's not even me trying to body Jeff. I'm just saying, like, I saw it and it was like, man. Quick side note, guys, it is just Riddle now. They got rid of, like, the mat. I don't know if that's been a thing for a while. I'm just reporting that here since we are back in the review saddle.
What were you reporting?
Wait, say that again?
You said you were reporting something. What were you reporting?
No, I'm just more or less saying that, like, Matt Riddle has lost his first name. It's just Riddle now on introductions. I don't know how long it's been that way. Yeah. But I just wanted to make a point of that. So Riddle does get the win with the Bro Derek on Elias. So
there was also a point in this where Elias hit Drift Away on Jeff, and then Riddle broke it up with a Broton. My bum got so angry.
Yeah, dude, I gotta say, man, I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't have this in my notes, but I like the older version of Drift Away that I think was more of a fisherman neck breaker than this.
Yeah. Did all three guys effectively have moments where they could have won this match?
I believe they did, yes.
Did Jeff have one? Because we know, like, Riddle won, and Elias had Jeff beat at one point. Did Jeff have a moment where he could have won?
Possibly. I feel like he did, because I know he did a twist of fate to Elias, and I feel like he would have beaten Elias there, but then, fucking Riddle broke it up, I think.
Yeah. So Riddle really dictated the progress and the pace of this match because, the two other times that somebody might have pinned another guy, Riddle broke it up, and then he ended up getting the winning pinfall for himself. So he really did dictate this match.
Bro, before Raw went on the air, I'd say like maybe an hour or two before it went on the air, I actually read a report that Vince might be interested in pushing Matt Riddle. And given the events of tonight with him specifically, both with this win and something that happened later in the show, I'm always cautious when talking about rumors on here, and I want to keep that skepticism now that we're back on reviews. But there might be some merit to that because they really went hard with it.
Yeah, because I'll never forget how many times we read about how Vince loves Andrade and sees him as another Eddie Guerrero, and maybe like a year later we were seeing those exact same reports about Angel Garza as Andrade loses to fucking jobbers on Raw Clean.
Yeah, dude, exactly. So I totally hear you on that. We got Riddle rounding out Team Raw, and this wouldn't be the last we'd see of Matt Riddle. I've got nothing else to say about this. If you do, we can move on.
No, yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to talk about the other stuff that we got from Riddle tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty much after this, because I combined this all into one bullet point, AJ, who, is team captain. And by the way, if somebody could clear this up for me, I feel like AJ's a self-anointed captain, but I don't know if, like, okay, he is, because I was going to ask if they did, like, a match, because, sometimes WWE will do those bullshit matches where the winner will, I think they even did it one year, the winner will be the captain of team, such and such, so I didn't know if they did that.
I don't think they've done that yet for Raw. They might eventually, just to kind of settle down all the bickering, but AJ has sort of positioned himself as the leader by pitting everyone else against each other, or at the very least by leaning into them already being against each other.
Yeah. And so AJ more or less said that, he felt like Riddle was the missing piece, and, he, really vouched for him. But then Sheamus interrupts him and calls Riddle a shoeless Muppet.
Wait, did we transition right into this segment already? Straight from the Riddle win?
I feel like we did, because I didn't have anything in my bullet points, at least, and I feel like I was pretty diligent in my note-taking from that to this. Yeah. Because they panned at one point to AJ watching on the monitor, which I will say, because now that we're doing reviews, I can get a lot more off my chest than I would have, like, we were reacting. AJ having his own big man is a cool aesthetic for him, but I feel like it's so unnecessary given how accomplished AJ is in the ring already.
Yeah.
Like, if he was a guy starting out in the ranks and smaller, like the Brian Kendrick when he was on SmackDown, he had Ezekiel Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made sense because
or even
Kendrick was
Devon, when Devon was going singles for the first time in a long time, and he had Batista.
Deacon Batista. I love it. Yeah. But AJ's so accomplished. Like he's already got a big man after already being a 2-time WWE champion. So it just kind of hits different for me. But yeah, he vouches for Riddle, calls him the missing piece of Team Raw, just what they needed. Sheamus interrupts and he calls Riddle a shoeless muppet and says that he'll kick his head off if he steps out of line. AJ calls for a team meeting for later tonight. He wants to build that team unity. He can sense a lot of tension. He feels like, man, we gotta work this out, man. And both Sheamus and Strowman, exactly. So you get it. And Sheamus and Strowman both say that AJ is not the captain. And I pretty much put in my notes that the story is whether Team Raw can coexist to beat Team SmackDown. I'm pretty sure Team SmackDown, I even said it's probably going to be vice versa, given who we know is on Team SmackDown. We know Kevin Owens hates Seth Rollins, and we know he probably doesn't like Jey Uso after what happened last Friday.
Well, and I think that there's a really strong chance that Murphy is the fifth man there, so we would have even more tension with Rollins there.
Precisely. So, is there anything you want to say about this before I keep rolling us along?
It's so interesting, too, because I feel like even though everyone on the SmackDown team might dislike each other, I also don't feel like any of them have, like, personal grudges with each other.
Yeah.
Sheamus and AJ Styles have barely interacted at all. Right. Sheamus and Riddle, a little maybe. Styles and Riddle had, like, that little tiny mini program for the IC title at that one point, but I didn't really notice any bad blood coming out of that. I don't know. I just feel like there's no real hatred within the Raw team. It's more just like egos colliding. But on SmackDown, there is so much fucking hatred.
Yeah,
dude. We've got Owens and Seth. We've got Owens and Jay. We're going to end up probably with Murphy and Seth. Who am I forgetting?
I mean, there is, you already mentioned Jay in there, and, because we don't have the fifth person, and you just kind of...
Corbin.
Right? Oh, yeah,
Corbin is, like, the one dude that's been on SmackDown the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, Mark's idea to make Big E the fifth member. That would be really cool. I would love that. If it's not Murphy, I would love it for it to be Big E.
Yeah, they really need to get that rocket behind him and send him all the way to, I don't know, WrestleMania. Yeah. So I would hope for that for E. I think that's a great suggestion from Mark. But if you have nothing else that you want to say about this particular segment of AJ calling for a team meeting later tonight, let's keep it going. We get
the team meeting itself is the segment I'm looking forward to talking about.
Oh, we'll get to it, brother. And I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would, but we'll get to it. We get Retribution. Oh, my God. Dude, because pretty much Mustafa Ali is hyping up the match that he has later tonight with Ricochet, and he says, Ricochet is an honorable man. He's still an honorable man. He said, when the Hurt Business gave him an offer, he decided to fight us alone and, stand alone and do his own thing. But Mustafa Ali more or less says that, that honor is worthless, and Ricochet is going to learn that tonight. And maybe when he finally does learn it and opens his eyes, that Retribution will be waiting for them. And then Mia Yim, she continues antagonizing Asuka, more or less saying she's making the women's division trash. So essentially what I want to say about this, because I don't want to stay on this too long because it was just a talking segment, I fucking love Mustafa Ali, and I'll probably be saying that again later tonight with the match with Ricochet. And I'm really excited about Mia Yim versus Asuka, and I just wish that given the quality of talent that Ali and Mia Yim are, Mia Yim especially in the ring, Ali is just a complete package to me, from aesthetic to mic to, I am really going to praise this dude hard in a few segments, just going to warn everybody. I wish the booking matched this dude's talent, because, dude, he's carrying it on his back right now. Not saying that I don't like the other members, but, as a leader, and I feel like, you can ask Wade Barrett when it was Nexus and all that, a leader is so important to get the other people really off the ground. This dude is killing it, and I just want them. And they did tonight. It was a good night for Retribution, but I want that to be consistent because he's so good, dude. Do you have anything you want to say about this?
Javaris is saying in chat that Mia challenged Asuka to a match. Did you catch that?
Yeah, that's. I don't know if she challenged her directly to a match, but I do think she's still calling out Asuka, generally speaking. She's being very antagonistic to Asuka in speech, but I don't think it was like, Asuka, you, me, women's champion. I don't think anything like that happened. She's just more or less saying, Asuka is bringing down the women's division.
Right.
So, Yeah, that's what I got, Javaris. I can't exactly co-sign that there was like an explicit challenge for a match made.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I think we can move on.
All right then. Up next. Oh God, I love this. Okay. Hurt Business doing Hurt Business things.
Yes.
Looking good in suits.
Oh my God.
Right? And then Gulak, who, let me just be perfectly clear before I go into typical John mode. Love Gulak. Technically sound, seems like a great human being. But what a fucking Wonder Bread nerd. Like, he's just there. Did you ever see the image that I doubt it. I doubt it. I think you're going to say no. But there was an image that Malcolm Bivens put out like a long while back. And I guess it was him meeting with all the other like black roster members on NXT for some kind of meeting. And it shows Dexter Lumis in the meeting, and everybody's just looking at him like one of these things isn't like the other. And
that's amazing. I haven't seen it, but I love that.
That's the vibe that
Dexter
I got here.
Lumis is Owen Hart.
Yeah, yes. Drew Gulak wanted to be the Owen Hart of the Hurt Business. That didn't really work out for him.
With the fucking clip-on tie.
Yeah, Lashley ripped it off, and they were all looking at it like, "The fuck."
Didn't R-Truth end up with that later then?
He might have, because I know he picked the scraps of the Hurt Business beatdown. I literally have in my notes, I'm just going to quote it here. I said, "Fuck your clip-on tie, Gulak, you classless fuck." So you can clearly see that I was, hashtag Team Men's Warehouse.
Yes. You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Gulak didn't like the way he felt after this segment. I'm sorry, I need to behave myself, but I fucking love this. Yeah, they beat the crap out of him. And then R-Truth got his baby back because he went in and picked the scraps and he got the 3 count.
Poor Drew, man. He can't catch a break.
Dude, I gotta tell you though, man, even with simple segments like this, Hurt Business is just one of my favorite things going on in the company right now. These guys are so good and they're so believable. And I love that I can say that too, and I'm really not trying to be insulting here. With in a faction with members like Shelton Benjamin in it, who historically have been insane athletes, right? But charisma vacuums. And that's why MVP is a godsend to these guys. He really is. Because, I wouldn't want to hear Lashley, Shelton, or maybe even Cedric. Cedric might be the best if he dug down enough emotion in there. But I don't think I'd want to hear any of these guys talk at length. But, man, dude, you get MVP in there and you've got a real vision, man. I have been loving this, dude. You have anything you want to add to this point?
Dude, I love that later on in the night, MVP even acknowledged that he respects Titus for the work that he does for children. It's just like, damn, this dude he just gets it. He just straight up gets it. He understands that you can't just spend your entire promo shitting on your opponent, because then who have you beaten? You have to build them up to make yourself look good when you beat them, or if you beat them, or if they beat you, then guess what? Now you've made it seem like you haven't really, losing isn't that big of a deal because they're awesome, right?
Yeah, you're protecting yourself because you're like, look what I lost to. But if I get a rematch, I won't lose again. No, I think you said that perfectly, brother. I'm not going to belabor that point. We're going to move right along here. What segment even was this? Okay, I think this was...
Was it the meeting?
No, it wasn't the meeting. No, because that's right after this, actually. Right. You're one segment ahead.
I'm jumping the gun.
This was... I don't blame you, though. It was again, a lot better than it had any right to be. Lana versus Shayna Baszler. Again, not to take too many.
Dude, I'm so angry at myself for forgetting about this heat of the night.
Yeah, I just need to get something off my chest about this, and it's not even negative. It's more just a fear that I have that I want to put on the table. Because, okay, so here is, again, from my notes, which help me a lot to keep me concise. I said WWE is trying to present Lana as an ultimate underdog type babyface. I personally don't find her likable enough for that kind of presentation, but we'll see what a more general audience thinks. They've really committed to this story of Nia terrorizing her and consistently putting her through the announce table. I think this, and remember I told you this in conversation, Ashton, I think this will culminate at TLC with Lana winning the tag titles with a partner who stands up for her, admiring her courage. That might have even been more your idea, but I did think that ultimately Lana would put Nia through a table.
Yeah. And I basically had the response of, I don't think WWE is trying to build her up as an underdog babyface. I think they are just using her as a fucking, a a joke, like a fucking, let's all point and laugh at this, silly girl that thought she could do something kind of deal. Because like even in your fantasy booking, I think I even explicitly told you, like, I feel like it's more likely that she thinks she's going to do it, and then Nia just reverses and puts her through the table again anyway.
Yeah, dude. Here's the thing. Now, that wasn't even the fear that I had. That was just an idea that I have. Here's the fear that I have, and why I hope that you're right. Because I have in my notes here, you can very clearly see the story, just so that I'm also kind of incorporating the segment. Nobody likes Lana right now, right? Because Lana's facing Shayna Baszler. We got Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke on commentary, who Lana cost them the women's tag titles last week. Raw did a nice job recapping that. Nia doesn't respect Lana at all. I think Mandy and Dana tolerate Lana because they know that they all have to get along to have a chance to win, because Team SmackDown already is looking stacked. They got Bianca and Ruby on that team. Like, holy fuck. So they all need to get along, right? My fear is, because they're making it such a big point, Lana's a screw up. Lana, is this. Hell, I mean, I'm kind of jumping the gun here, admittedly, and I apologize, but later in the show, spoiler alert, Lana goes to the announce table again, and Nia says, you're an anchor, you're going to drag the team down, just quit. Dude, I genuinely have a fear, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong, and this is one of my classic John moments. She could be the sole survivor, dude, for the fucking women's match at Survivor Series, because they are making the biggest stink that she's the Achilles heel of the team. I think she's either going to be the sole survivor, or what I would be more tolerant of, because I can't stand Nia anyway, she outperforms Nia Jax in the match by lasting longer than she did.
See, now that I could see. I could see her, like, I could literally see it being a situation where all 4 of her teammates get eliminated before she does, because she doesn't get into the fucking match. Or if she gets into the match, she is a part of, like, maybe like a one of those things where, everyone will do like the club to the arm and then tag out, and then the club to the arm and then tag out, and that whole thing. But I don't think she's going to have a significant role in the match until it comes down to only her, if they're going to do anything with her at all. Like, they could just continue with her being the laughing stock and have her get her ass beat and have her be the first person eliminated. That wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that would surprise anyone. But if they do want to kind of try and subvert some people and be like, oh, you didn't expect this, did you? They could have her be the last person remaining through other means, by literally just having everyone else on her team get eliminated by opponents. Have it come down to her versus, like, I don't know, 3 to maybe even all 5 members of the SmackDown team, and have her just get her ass destroyed and then lose, and then SmackDown wins, and that's it.
Brother, honestly, and again, this is just only my fear, and again, I hope you're right, because I'm already rooting for Team SmackDown with who they've got on the team. You might have actually been the missing piece for me to think about how to rationalize this, because if they start at the very beginning, I could totally see this with the way the Team Raw, the women's side is acting. Before the bell even rings, Nia could put Lana through a table. They do pretty much a 4-on-5, which they quickly even up. SmackDown thinks they've won, but oh wait, Lana was never 4. That's how they'll do it, dude. You just gave me the.
And then she gets her ass beaten and loses anyway, so it doesn't matter.
But see, dude, that's, again, I hope you're right, but I think they'd give her the win. Lana shocks the world in WWE's mind because she's got.
I really think you're overestimating how much Vince wants to push Lana, honestly.
Dude,
you've also got to take into account that she has, like, other women around her in the locker room, and they give their feedback to Vince, and pretty much everybody, I would guess, is probably saying that Lana sucks, and has been for years and years and years at this point. And, like, even going back to, like, wasn't Lana on, like, the SmackDown Survivor Series team a year or 2 ago? And when she got announced, people fucking laughed in the ring. It was like, I think it was like even when the Bellas were still around, maybe. I don't know. But I feel like I distinctly remember Lana getting added to a match and people, other women in the ring laughing about it.
I mean, brother, look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that the way I'm looking at things, the whole story is, again, Nia explicitly said, you're going to drag the team down, just quit. This woman has been emotionally abused, physically abused. I mean, really, she's been bullied, just to put it in a word. Mandy and Dana don't even really defend her, and if they do, it's half-hearted.
Well, and that was what's going to be a heat of the night of mine. I just forgot about it, was that, like, this whole thing with Lana and Nia, I am not feeling sympathy for Lana. I'm a little bit annoyed with Nia, but, like, it's like, I'm just, like, writing it off as, like, oh, she's a heel. She's going to keep doing it if she can get away with it. The people that I'm pissed at are the baby faces on Raw. The babyface women on Raw, somebody should be standing up for Lana. And that is what comes to my, like, sort of fantasy booking that I had. Dude, we don't have any baby faces right now standing up for Lana on Raw. What if the tag partner that Lana wins the tag titles with ends up being some like super dominant powerhouse beast that could take Shayna and Nia on by herself. And Javaris in chat mentioned Charlotte. First person my mind goes to is Rhea Ripley coming up from NXT.
That could be, because, like, did I even put in my notes? I think I even said in my notes that I could see Lana winning the tag titles with somebody that just stands up for her, like really stands up for her, because they admire her courage, like still getting these beatings, and she keeps getting back up.
And I don't even think of it that way. I think of it more as like Lana is just the burden that this person has to bear in order to hold the tag titles. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm seeing it as like Rhea Ripley comes up, she, you know, maybe she tries to win the women's title and fails, but then she kind of is like, okay, I'm going to settle for the tag titles. And she doesn't have a partner. Nobody likes her. Everyone's scared of her, but she stands up to Nia Jax one time when she goes to put Lana through a table. And it's like, oh shit, suddenly Lana is like attached to Rhea Ripley. She's always around her. She's always like hiding behind her and shit. She's like a fucking scared dog hiding behind Rhea Ripley because she knows Rhea's the only person that can and will stand up for her. Suddenly they're going for the tag titles. They win not because of anything Lana does, but because Rhea fucking shreds through both Nia and Shayna. They win the tag titles. Lana is a tag team champion and Rhea doesn't even fucking like her.
That could be likely. I just feel like I have a different read on the situation from like you. And
I think I think we both agree that we have very different reads on the situation, because I'm looking at it as Lana is a laughing stock. They're going to continue using her as a laughing stock. If anything, she's almost like a comedic trope that they're going to continue using for that purpose as like a comedy act. And, you know, they might put the tag titles on her as, again, like a way to get somebody else over and push somebody else serious so that she can be the sort of the goofball to the other person's straight man kind of deal. And maybe even then catapult that other person up to the world title, the women's title. But you seem to think that this is just genuine, like they genuinely are doing this to get people to like Lana because they want to push her.
Yeah, I think, again, you gave me the missing piece. I could see them doing the table spot before the bell even rings for the women's match. They have the match. Team SmackDown thinks they've won. Maybe it comes down. Maybe it's even 2 wins.
I mean, dude, here's the thing. You making predictions like this that I might see as out of nowhere have actually come to pass more often than we might not even realize. Remember back in 2016, I want to say, or was it it was 2014, when you were going out of your way to pound the fucking table to say that Roman Reigns is going to get the most eliminations and maybe even win the Rumble?
Yeah.
And then he did. Yeah. And then he came in second behind only Batista. And like, yeah, like you making these like out of nowhere predictions have worked out sometimes. So I'm not writing what you're saying off.
Right.
I think that you and I have very different perceptions of what Vince thinks of Lana.
Yeah, and that dude, I think Vince has different perceptions of what he thinks of Lana given the day of the week.
Yeah.
Because I'm just reading it right now and really too, I should be honest too about my own shortcomings potentially in my prediction. This was the first time I was fully engaged with the product because we're back in reviews. And just in this one night, I saw a woman be alienated from her team and really, just to put it in an umbrella term, bullied in like a variety of ways.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what better way to get back at your bully than to thumb your nose at them? Like I said, if she doesn't...
See, but I'm also thinking about Vince, and Vince is a bully, and Vince is like pro-bullying, and he thinks bullying is fun and a good thing.
Right, but at the same time, and you are right about that, but I think at the same time, like, WWE is also a business that wants to make money, and they know, like, if you can, and I'm not saying Lana's money, you know, I don't want to...
Right.
But if they're thinking, like, hey, if an underdog story sells, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but I think just to get back...
I mean, there's also the fact that there's no, like, fan feedback right now. There's nobody in the crowd who maybe they would be fucking cheering every time Nia puts Lana through a table, like, yeah, fuck Lana, she sucks. Like, that could legitimately have been something that could have happened if we had real crowds, but as it is, they don't have fan feedback, so they don't know how people feel about this.
Precisely. I think you're 100% right about that. We'll have to see how it goes, but just us having this spirit of discussion actually gets me a bit more hyped for the women's matchup than what they're kind of doing right now, although, again, I am really liking how Team SmackDown's coming together. Just to get back to this match very quickly, Shayna makes incredibly quick work of Lana. Yeah. She wins with the Kirifuda clutch.
Right.
Mandy and Dana, they do stop Nia, at least in this segment, from putting Lana through the table because they give like a swift little kick to Nia, and they're like, hey, stop this. We're on the same team. Like, if you keep picking apart our own team, there's no way we're going to beat Team SmackDown, which, again, I already saw had Bianca and Ruby on it. And, well, Ruby definitely shouldn't be a joke, and I think they're gearing up to do big things with Bianca, but we'll probably talk about that for our first SmackDown review this coming Friday. So, yeah, that'll be cool. And, yeah, that was pretty much that segment. I feel like we had a good conversation about those. Do you have anything you want to add?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, we're here, brother. Well, again, you know what? I want to give you the reins on this one. I'm just going to say that this was the Raw team meeting. How did you feel about it, man?
I loved it. It was so fun and silly, and Riddle is really starting to kind of, I think, earn favor with the audience. Well, again, with the fan base, I should say, because there's no real audience, but there's an audience in hard, like, fucking Kirifuda clutch, chokehold, air quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just I'm excited. I loved the little nicknames that he was coming up with. I don't even remember them, honestly. I just was enjoying them and giggling at them as he was saying them. And like the way that they set up, like, okay, well, I also, God, it's such a shame that so many really amazingly talented people are bad people and like pieces of shit and stuff. Because AJ Styles is consistently a highlight on television for me. This dude cracks me the fuck up. He's got a straight line to my funny bone. And him taking on this leadership role and trying so, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, he's making it seem like he's trying really hard, but he's doing things that make things worse. And it's like you almost have to question if he's doing that on purpose to maintain his position as the leader while everyone else is squibbling, right? So it's like him kind of taking this position of like, I'm the leader, but y'all got to fight amongst yourselves because otherwise we're never going to win this match. And they're just like, no, you're not the leader, but also fuck you, guy, and that kind of stuff. And like he's sowing discord while at the same time using the discord to maintain his leadership position. And even here, he positioned himself as the referee, the ultimate position of power within a match, in a tag team match. So like, yeah, I'm really loving the story, even if I don't love sort of the underlying notions of like these guys were almost all on SmackDown a month ago.
Yeah, brother, I think you made a great point about AJ, positioning himself as the referee. I didn't even think about that connection. That's an excellent point you just made. I even put in my notes, it's funny what you said at the beginning, because I said the Raw team meeting was better than it had any right to be. AJ might be ignorant as fuck, but he's got an endearing quality when he talks on the mic. And what I really thought he did an excellent job of here, dude, he really put over Team SmackDown.
He did, dude. The way that he put over Riddle actually surprised me.
Yeah, he really vouched for Riddle. Maybe it's because AJ likes Riddle, and again, when speaking out and just backstage heat, I don't know if Riddle's the most liked guy backstage. Yeah. So it surprised me that like on the mic, on the television product, AJ really went out of his way to say that like, Riddle's this and Riddle's great and all that. AJ really put over the threat that Team SmackDown is. Like, oh, have you ever been curb stomped? You want Kevin Owens to hit you with a stunner because that's exactly what's going to happen. Like, he really made these guys look like a threat. And I'm like, well, now I feel like it's Survivor Series. Now I feel like it's fucking game day. Like, yeah, fucking Allen showing the way.
It's so, like, this is what we mean, though, when we say that he just put all of his fucking skill points into wrestling ability, because he's such a good pro, and, like, it's not like, oh, he's just a really good talker, he just has the gift of gab, like Enzo Amore. He's specifically an amazing wrestling promo. He's so good at making you want to see him fight, and in this case, he's really good at making us want to see a match that he's a 10th of. Like, that's how good he is.
Yeah. Dude, for sure. I think you put that excellently. Riddle, I hate to admit it because I've been feeling weird about him again with things going on outside the ring. He did get a chuckle from me here with the code names.
Yeah.
And particularly what made me chuckle, I guess because of our thing, is when Sheamus's code name was Fireface.
Yes.
And
And Sheamus was like, oh, that's real funny. A ginger joke. That's real original. He's just like, no, bro. You gotta understand. Because when you get angry, your face turns bright red. Kind of like it is now.
Exactly. And what's your name? Dopey? How'd you know,
exactly.
It worked.
So good. And I love that he gave Keith Lee the name Broly. Oh, the
differences
are real.
Yes. And Fucking AJ's like, no code names. Oh, Alan. Like, I was thinking in my head, like, what's AJ's code name? Earther. But, we didn't go there.
Bowl cut.
Oh, damn. Bro, are you Shinsuke Nakamura? Because what a nut shot.
Somebody here said they missed Shinsuke. I don't remember who it was.
I think it was Xavier in like a promo.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was later in the night. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like you said, AJ made himself a referee for a tag match. It's Sheamus and Strowman versus Broly. So, Keith Lee and Matt Riddle. Before we actually talk about the matchup, did you have anything else you want to say about the team meeting?
No, I got my shit out. We're good. Let's go.
Okay, yeah, so I just put here, we got our tag match. I thought it was pretty decent. The first half of the tag match really showed AJ getting roughed up by both sides. Riddle inadvertently hit him twice. And there was another point in the match where AJ got sandwiched between Strowman and Keith. I will say one thing that surprised me, AJ never really went off on any of these guys. Like, I think he really is in his own deluded mind trying to seriously be a leader because he didn't hit anybody. I thought he was going to hit Riddle after the second miscommunication, like Pele him or some shit.
See, and I think it's less about really, like, wanting to make sure that the team has real unity and more about not wanting to direct any of their targets at him.
Yeah, which I really thought, like, I'm also amazed that hasn't happened yet. But I will say that, AJ being a self-deluded comedic foil type works because of how damn good he is in the ring. Like, you can get away with it with AJ because he makes up for it, with what he can do in there. I said tempers flared between Strowman and Sheamus, because Sheamus is going for the brogue at one point. Strowman tagged himself in, said, get on the apron. Then Strowman was going to go for his running power slam. Sheamus tagged him in. I know this got a chuckle out of you when Sheamus said, get your big ass out of the ring. So Sheamus trying to retake control, and they ultimately just disagreed. But Riddle actually pinned Sheamus here.
Yep.
So Riddle had one hell of a night. He got two wins on the same night. And again, like, this is, I think, an even bigger deal because he already had wrestled a match, and he was a part of the winning decision. And that just made me say that they might really be serious about a Riddle push, which normally if this was like, before speaking out, I would have been fucking stoked on. Now I'm a bit more ambivalent. But the only other note I have here was that I thought they did great hoss spots between Strowman and Keith Lee. The lariat that Keith Lee hit on Strowman, I thought that was a great visual that Strowman sold well. If they're going to gear up for a rematch between these guys, I'm all for that. I thought it was good shit. Do you have anything you want to say about this tag match?
No, other than just the fact that I had fun with it and how angry people were getting at AJ when he wasn't quite counting all the way to 3, even though he wasn't really cheating them at all, was kind of hilarious to me just because it's him and not an actual ref.
Right.
So, yeah, go ahead.
So next we've got Alexa, like, kind of, picking petals off flowers, and Nikki comes in. This is actually the perfect segment, I think, for me to talk about. I don't want to dwell too much on this because I'm really loving the energy right now. I don't like Alexa with The Fiend. I told this to Ashton in conversation. I actually went back on WWE's YouTube channel and I watched the segments. It comes off really try-hard to me, whereas I think The Fiend always had a natural creepiness. Like, I would kill to relive the days and inject in my veins when The Fiend, like, first debuted on Raw, and I got psyched with how he was terrorizing Seth Rollins. I don't like how people have turned on it. First ever Rocket League. Oh, yeah, dude, because I think I loved him so much. I asked you if we could stream, and I rarely do that. I rarely do that. And, like, I don't like how people have turned on him. I mean, of course.
And that wasn't even The Fiend. That was just the Firefly Funhouse at that point. We hadn't even seen The Fiend yet.
Exactly. And, I don't like how people have turned on him, but of course that's their prerogative. And I don't even really think they're turning on him so much as the booking. And I'm not even going to get into that. And I think Alexa, like, it does nothing for him. And the funny thing is, in WWE's mind, apparently, from what I've read, again, grain of salt warning, they're treating this as a babyface thing. You never needed Alexa to be a babyface. Like, oh God, I remember the inspired Twitter thread I did about how this could be a great commentary about trauma because Bray got put through the ringer, whether it was losing Sister Abigail, if you want to make that the mythos of the character, Orton burning down the compound, which they did reference, I think, like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that was last week.
You could have done a great commentary. And again, I don't want to turn this into a dissertation. That's for, oddly enough, the 24/7 championship later tonight. But, I love The Fiend, and I'm still loving The Fiend, and I still vibe with The Fiend, but Alexa adds nothing to me. And I will say here, too, like, I'm over Super Nikki in a way, but I did say that I appreciate that at least they attempted in this segment to give some emotional depth to the relationship, because Nikki approaches Alexa, right? And Alexa's off in her own little world. And she feels bad because this all started, remember, when Nikki Cross lost that women's championship match to Bayley. She shoves Alexa, leaves Alexa alone in the ring, and that's why the Fiend put the mandible claw on her, because Alexa was left alone in the ring. So Nikki carries a lot of guilt about that. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be that guy for 2 seconds. Stuff like this makes me really miss Lucha Underground, because if they were doing this between 2 female friends in Lucha Underground, you know where they'd go with it, dude. I'm sure you and I can already visualize the cinematics and the drama and, like, you abandoned me and you're the reason I'm like this, and they carry the guilt. WWE, again, either because they don't care about their women or they just don't have the talent, which I refuse to believe, because we just saw recently again with Kofi Mania, when you care about something, you can make fucking gold. You know, we're never going to get that depth with this, and Nikki clearly feels bad. But what I don't like is she pivots to giving Alexa an ultimatum. And she's like, look, it's either me or the Fiend. And Alexa, obviously, fucking chooses the Fiend. I mean, they've been doing the whole thing for a while. I don't know how Nikki felt that was going to go. So, yeah, I think that was more...
I remember I just said at that point, this is why you don't give people ultimatums.
I hate that shit. I always hated that shit non-kayfabe, and I hate it in kayfabe as well. Like, I don't know what Nikki was thinking. I don't know if that was to, like, formally sever the ties, and now Nikki's going to have to focus on her own career with her weird Celine Dion theme song that she's got going on. But,
oh, God, I feel like I haven't heard that yet.
Oh, dude, I have never seen a theme more violently juxtaposed with a person's character as Nikki Cross's theme that I heard from a clip on Raw like a week or 2 ago. Jesus, maple syrup, fucking Christ. It was a lot. It was a lot, like, so much so that I couldn't even think about how I wanted to end that sentence. But regardless, I don't know what Nikki expected, but Alexa does choose the Fiend. Moving right along, we get classy and we get down to business. And by that I mean the hurt business.
I knew you were gonna go there. Oh my God.
I am such a cheesy son of a bitch. And
dude, as soon as you said classy, I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's fucking happening. We know that Cedric and Shelton are getting a Raw Tag title shot next week against New Day. I think that should be a really cool matchup. I'm here for it. And we have Lashley addressing Sammy. Dude, I actually put in my notes, because I could really feel myself getting a bit cheekier in my notes for the second half of the show. I said, hope their Survivor Series match will be better than their dumpster fire match years ago. I said, MVP is such a fantastic hype man. He's so much better than the Lashley sisters. I don't know if you forgot about that, and I apologize if I
remember.
And the one line that I put in my notes, because I don't want to recap the whole promo, when he said that Lashley is going to show that the Intercontinental Champion and the U.S. Champion are not the same, that was it. Like, I thought that was such a great, direct line. Didn't mess around, got right down to, and again, no pun intended here, but got right down to business. And, MVP is such a great fucking hype man. I'm telling you, he's the best thing to, actually, I even say later in my notes after the Titus thing, which we'll get to in a second, her business has been the best thing to happen to everybody in this group for their WWE run. It's just, I'm so happy they found each other.
Yep.
So Titus comes out for his
Before we move on, I just want to say,
yes,
I love the line that you actually already praised about them not being the same thing, like the 2 titles not being equal, because, like, coming from Lashley, knowing that he is the United States champion, that really does speak volumes, because we've already had discussions about how sort of obnoxious it was that Raw felt like there were maybe 2 or 3 guys at the very, very top and a whole bunch of dudes in the middle that just felt like they couldn't beat anyone consistently. But the one dude that stood out of that, who wasn't quite as good as the top guys like Drew and Orton and maybe Keith Lee, but not as low as those other guys, was Bobby Lashley. He's obviously a crank above that. So I think it's really cool that we can see somebody sort of acknowledge what we've already kind of said, and that is that Bobby Lashley is a notch above the mid-card, which I think that even though we love Sami Zayn and we would love to see him win everything, we can probably agree that he is firmly in the mid-card.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. And Lashley, I feel like, has such a presence as the United States champion, a presence that was contrasted nicely when Titus came out for his seemingly annual promo about, you know, I'm ready to get serious about my career. You know, I'm ready to dominate WWE the same way that I try and be a good spokesman. And again, MVP acknowledged that with the work you do for children, the work you do as a Floridian citizen. Are you okay, bro? Is there
dying inside because of the line MVP said right before the match started?
Which was, can you recap that for me? Because I'm
by the way, the match is on the mat, not below it.
Fuck.
That shit fucking slayed me. Oh my god. As if I didn't love MVP enough already. That took it over the top.
I was so close to not squeeing during a review, and like that did it. That did it.
Did you not hear him say that? Oh my god, it was legendary.
Dude, I must have, you know what, dude? Remember though, I did have internet problems, and it might have been during this whole
you're
thing.
right. It might have been more off. Oh no.
So thank you. So thank you for catching that, dude. Because I tried to be good about my notes, and I feel like for the most part I was, but I did miss some stuff. Lashley obliterates Titus. Do we even really need to get into this?
Like, you're absolutely. Him. It was destruction.
I'm not even trying to body Titus because again, I'm loving the energy here.
I mean, to be fair, you don't need to try. He does it to himself.
Moving on, Sheamus and McIntyre interact. Sheamus is just apoplectic. He's more or less like, bro, I hate my fucking team. Like, you need to join the team so that I don't kick people's heads off. And they're reminiscing, Drew and Sheamus, about how, I guess in FCW and stuff, like, they would dominate. Back in the day, they would dominate, Scotland, Ireland, that unity. And I gotta say, man, first of all, Drew's charisma is off the charts. I love that Drew's charisma and his fire hasn't dipped since losing the title, and he's just as compelling as a chaser as he was as a champion. Yeah. And I will stand by the Drew McIntyre WWE title reign because I still think he was an entertaining champion through the most trying circumstances of any WWE champion in the company's history, easily. And I will say too, and I think it was because of Drew's charisma and maybe just their natural friendship. I'm guessing they really are very close. This is the most likable Sheamus felt to me ever.
Yeah. When he and Drew were talking about reforming the old team and shit. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I forget what their phrase was.
A keg and a claymore or something like that.
You keg and a claymore. Yeah, and
a claymore to the head and something about a keg.
Yeah. And it was good shit. I even said in my notes, whether they do a Sheamus face run and they team up, which I even put in parentheses, doubtful. Or if they feud, possibly.
Yeah, when I was watching this, I was getting some serious, Sheamus is, building Drew up so that he can knock him down later, kind of. He's trying to get close to Drew in case Drew wins the title back so that if he does win the title back, he can challenge him for it.
Exactly. And I said their rapport alone will prevent the feud from being a complete dud. And I did give Sheamus props here. I said Sheamus has definitely gotten in a better light with me after his work in the Big E feud. I thought Sheamus did great work there. So when you
put him over pretty consistently too.
And he put him over consistently. So you know what happens? You do great in one feud. That means I'm open to the next feud that you're doing until shown otherwise. So I'm open to this because we know that Drew can't be in the WWE title picture forever, nor should he be. I do like a rotation. I think Sheamus would be a fine rotation for Drew, and it could be some good Haas matches. So I enjoyed this interaction. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
I just wonder if Sheamus is starting to get a little bit of creative control, or if he's had it for a little while even.
Maybe, man, because he's turning a corner a little bit with me. I don't think he'll ever be Fave 5 material for me, but I enjoy what he puts out. I'm not hating it. I wonder how our chat feels because I'm not saying I'm a Sheamus stan, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. Yeah. So you kind of filled me in on this. We have Nia and Shayna arguing over who a real leader of the Raw women's team is. Nia says she's going to prove she's the leader by beating Asuka, and she may go after the title after the fact. Shayna says she's the leader. I'll summarize it like this. When it comes to Nia, my general sentiments are always going to be, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah. Asuka's the fucking GOAT, though, because she consistently gives Nia some of her best matches all year. I think Asuka knows how to play with Nia's size to make her look good and consequently to make Asuka look good, taking the bumps and everything, so long as they're not shoots because Nia's an unsafe klutz. So, I think they did serviceable work out there because Asuka's just a ring general to me. Match gets thrown, and also I will give WWE credit on this because there was actually something worth praising here. I love that they actually made Asuka competent and more or less insurmountable because the Raw women's team was out there, right? So we got Dana, Mandy, and Lana, and Lana's getting on the apron. Shayna puts her in the Kirifuda again. And it just starts breaking down. Asuka looks over, and I'm like, oh, God, are we really going to do this beat where, Nia, as soon as Survivor Series is over, is going to have a women's championship match in her back pocket? No, actually, because she slipped out of the Samoan drop, got her in the Asuka lock, and Shayna had to break it up, causing the DQ. So I do want to praise this match here for making Asuka seem competent, because it would have been so easy to do the by the numbers. Oh, what's that bright light? Oh, no, finisher, no! And then 3 count. But they actually had Asuka, like, have everybody fucking scouted. That's how you make a dominant champion, bro. That's how you make Asuka matter. So I really appreciated that they did this. Put the boots to Asuka, calamity everywhere, and this is where Lana gets put to the table again, and then Nia says, you're the weak link, you're going to drag us down, just quit. And then they walk off. And again, this is why I had the concerns that we already sufficiently addressed, so to not lose speed. Do you have anything you want to add to this before I move right past this?
I don't know if you saw this, but Javaris did say in chat that it looks like Nia may have injured Mandy Rose.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Can she go 1 week? I don't know. I don't, yeah. It sucks for Mandy. I know the company, wants to get behind her, and I still think she's terrible on the whole, but I don't know. Maybe she's been trying to put
that's like my big thing though, is like, how terrible is she really when she hasn't injured anyone and Nia does it consistently?
Yeah. Yeah, you guys already know how I feel about Nia, so we made a promise, not going to get mired in it. You can go back to any number of reviews where I roast Nia, but I just don't think she should have a job, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
So
she's in the wrong business.
Absolutely. Yeah, when we say hurt business, it's kayfabe, Nia. Don't go shooting on people.
Yeah.
So R-Truth has to defend the 24/7 title in a 7-way matchup. I'm just going to be honest with everybody. I even put in my notes, and I wanted to be very exact here in my language. I'm over Truth's comedy with this era. I like it when they give him something new to do to get new comedic material from. This comedic material, which is being the 24/7 champion, I got my baby bag, the 24/7, 7-Eleven, whatever. It's played out to me. I'm over it. And I even said this is more due to overexposure than Truth personally, who's a solid worker and makes his material work. I think Truth's staying power is commendable and it's admirable. And the worker seems like a really great dude. And we need all the great dudes we can get after the skeletons that came out of the business closet, right? But, like, I just think this particular era for him, he's done everything he can do with it, and I'd like them to do something else with him. Would you say that I'm alone in that? Can you sympathize with my criticisms? Where are you at with the with everything 24/7 title and just Truth doing this?
I think I've just grown apathetic about it, honestly. It's my mom absolutely loves it, so I know that it obviously serves some purpose because it does have its audience. It's just not for me.
I think I'm right there with you, man. And I like how, like me, I don't think your contention is with Truth at all personally, because I think he's doing the best
Truth's
he can with it.
fucking great.
Yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. So I'm glad we made that distinction, because I just wanted to get that off my chest. Speaking of getting things off my chest that I'm really confused about and don't particularly like, Angel Garza cut a promo that essentially amounts to him saying he's a ladies' man who fights for all the women of the world, and he offers all the women of the world a rose. And I just said, I feel Angel's charisma is considerably limited with this personality. Like, we've already talked about the grievances of him being engaged outside the ring. So we're just going to reiterate that again very quickly because we've made notes about it in a number of commentaries.
I mean, dude, I think it really comes down to his charisma doesn't necessarily shine through because of his talking. It shines through because of his sort of physicality and like his the way that he moves and the way that he kind of walks. And like there's that's where his charisma comes. It's a presence. It's not like he's not a charismatic talker. He is charismatic, but that doesn't mean he's a charismatic talker. He's not a great talker. You could even say he's not a good talker. I don't think he's a very good talker at all. But he's so naturally charismatic just because he's got that presence that doesn't come through when he's standing in a fucking green screen room talking to a camera.
Yeah, for sure. They need to give him more to do than this because I'm really getting sick and tired of every I
feel like the WWE manages to screw up the build on everybody. Like this is so.
Yeah.
This dude has charisma from hell, but he's not a good talker. So what do? They put him in a box and make him talk. Are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly. I think you said it perfectly and to the point. I'm really getting sick of every Hispanic talent or just coming from that part of the world, being labeled like an Eddie Guerrero, when what made Eddie so great was he was actually given opportunities for his charisma to shine through. Hell, the whole Lothario thing that they've got Angel going on right now, I remember when Eddie had the whole angle with China where he was sweet on her, but you know what? He was so much more than that, though, and he made that shine through even in that angle. I don't like that. I feel like WWE tries to box these characters in, and it's like, do the best you can with your box, and that's both like your floor and your ceiling. Like you're never going to really go beyond this box. Just make the box work as best you can. I really didn't like this personally, and I just want to say that very quickly. So moving right along, 7-way for the 24/7 title. I just put that it was ultimately a circle jerk that saw like 8 title changes before the title went back to Truth. And I made particular note of Tucker. I said Tucker got the worst of this. I said he turned on his best friend in Otis, at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, had his tag team with him, which was genuinely likable and had legs. Dude, let's not forget that. I want to say, earlier this year, February of this year, when they did Elimination Chamber for the tag titles, they had a gauntlet match before the Chamber, and fucking Heavy Machinery ran the gauntlet. They didn't win, but they ran the gauntlet, and they had a genuinely good SmackDown exclusive promo where Tucker did like 90% of the talking, and it was great. And I'm like, oh my god, this is an amazing blue collar tag team without being like cringe about it. There's a real likability to these guys. They cut the legs out from underneath them. And so you think, like, because I saw Tucker in a suit in, like, one clip. I think this was, like, last week when Ricochet was more or less like, yo, man, what you did to Otis, that wasn't cool. And I'm like, he looks good. He has credentials, as, like, an amateur athlete and this and that. Maybe they'll do a little something. He's already in 24/7 segments. He won the title twice, but he didn't leave as the champion. And I'm like, seriously? From a kayfabe standpoint, Tucker looks absolutely stupid because he just got done saying, I turned on Otis because I was the star. Now, granted, Otis may no longer be Mr. Money in the Bank, and he's not going to Survivor Series because Seth Rollins, beat him there. But at least he did that big stuff, right? And he had the WrestleMania moment with Mandy Rose. Even if that's all come undone, at least he had it. You would think with Tucker making this move, it's like, well, I'm going to have everything that Otis had and more. And already he's doing this stuff where he's doing fucking cradle exchanges with Gulak looking like a fool. Yeah. So I really personally thought, to me, not to go off like too hard, but I really just thought that Tucker looked bad in this. Because again, you give up all of that for nothing. And WWE had a genuinely great tag team when we've already said, again, you could go back to any number of commentary guys. You could pick one. We know that WWE doesn't give a shit about tag team wrestling, but they had a genuinely great team and they threw it away for nothing. And all of this was to go to my really ridiculous and admittedly stupid fantasy idea for the 24/7 title. And I say that because I know it's never going to happen. But, like, I'm really getting sick and tired of the circle jerk because, like, that's the thing. You're not really elevating anybody and you're not really doing anything new with comedy or anything if it's just the same thing. So I would love, and Ashton helped me out here so I wouldn't take 5 hours thinking of a name, so you can thank him for how concise I'm going to make this, hopefully. We give the title to Rick Boogs. That's ultimately who I settled on because I love that idea that Ashton came up with. And he comes into the company and he says, you know what? I want to prove that I can be WWE's top guy. Like Roman Reigns, like John Cena, like the top guy. And you know how I'm going to do it? I'm going to become the 24/7 champion. Everybody looks like bewildered because that's like a fucking joke title. Like, Truth is going to be like, by the time Rick Boogs cuts this promo in my head, he'll probably be a 60-time 24/7 champion. And he says the 24/7 title is the perfect proving ground for me to be the top guy because when you're the top guy of this company, you do have to represent them 24/7. And you make him a legit fucking champion who legit defends, whether in the locker room, in the ring, on the way to the airport. And, like, he lays them out and he keeps getting wins to the point where, like, higher competition, like, just to throw a name out there because I'm not worried about brand splits and this and that, like maybe like a Kevin Owens wants to test Rick Boogs because it's like, yo, this guy's really been doing stuff with the 24/7 title. Like, not only has he only had one run with it, rather than R-Truth with his 60, but he only has the one run because he's just really dominating because he has the wrestling experience, which is another reason why I love that you came up with Rick Boogs, dude, because he has the in-ring experience to pull this off. And then he gets more caliber challengers. I would love if they actually had a serious 24/7 champion that had it because he's like, if I can turn this joke of a title into an attraction, that's my audition for top guy. And then it ends with a champion versus champion, 24/7 champion facing the WWE champion, with 24 champion obviously going over. So that's another reason why I like Rick Boogs, because I could see the dude being a world champion. And then the next night on Raw, throws the 24/7 title in the trash can and he destroys it. Why? Because he's not going to tolerate the 24/7 title reverting back to being a joke, and he wants to focus all of his energies on being the WWE champion. So
I like it. So this is a way to have the best 24/7 champion, crown a new world champion, and get rid of the 24/7 champion all in one story.
Exactly. Precisely.
I love it. Precisely. That's great. Yeah. I also, God, since we're talking about Rick Boogs, I would just love it if he would do like, because I don't know if you, I mean, I know you've seen them before, but I don't know how often you know, or if you know how often he does these. This dude uploads workout videos like fucking crazy. Like he's uploading workout videos constantly where it's like just a video of him lifting some fucking ridiculous amount of weight, right? Like he does this shit all the time. I want him to do that while 24/7 champion and have it build up to one time somebody trying to pin him while he has a weight on him and he kicks out fucking anyway.
Yes, dude. Yes. Like, that's the thing. I don't want, like in my fantasy booking, the 24/7 championship to linger after it's already had the best run it is ever going to conceivably.
And I also want him to make a point of saying, I'm gonna be the longest reigning 24/7 champion. I'm gonna outreign Gronkowski, and he wasn't even around.
Exactly. Like, dude.
And I want this story, but I also want it to be longest reigning and most defenses in a single reign at the same time.
And it would be like the way I'm conceiving of it, dude. It would be because again, this is the last 24/7 champion, so you need to make him the best.
So would you give him like a 6-month reign, or like am I right around like the spitball in here is the same?
Yeah, I'd say so because I think 6 months worth of television, that's like half a year, so that's what, like 26 weeks. 26 weeks, and you could even do like maybe 2 or 3 defenses on some shows. Not every show because I don't want it to get repetitive, but some shows you could maybe even do 2 to 3 defenses in one show. So you really pile. I
feel like he would pop ratings so hard, especially if you like ahead of time announced that he was defending against like a really hated heel or something. Like I feel like people would fucking love him.
Yeah, dude. And again, like, I would want the competition and quality to slowly get up as the reign was getting more impressive because people are looking at the 24/7 title differently. So you want to mold the perception of the audience by molding the perception in kayfabe, right? Mm-hmm. Like Kevin Owens right now, I used him as an example because, again, I don't care about brand slips and I'm just looking for a name. He wouldn't care about the 24/7 title when it's got Drake Maverick and R-Truth and all those guys going for it. But he sees this guy named Rick Boogs just tearing it fucking up, right? And he's like, well, that makes it valuable to me because who the hell is this dude? And, like, that's what I want. And then if you have the talent shifting perspective, you know what that does? It communicates to the audience, hey, maybe we should shift our perspective too. This isn't your mom's 24/7 champion, so to speak. Like, yeah, I know it'll never happen. That's why I said that my idea was stupid at the outset. But, like, the 24/7 title, it's in a cul-de-sac of creativity. Like, it's just going to keep circling the freaking drain. And I feel like you could really make a main eventer out of this. And especially too, like, not to pat myself on the back too hard, but I do like my premise of you've got to rep the company 24/7 if you're going to be the guy above all other guys. Because John Cena did so many Make-A-Wishes. Roman Reigns goes hard. He beat fucking leukemia just so he could keep repping this company, right? So he's like, if I'm the greatest 24/7 champion, that means I'm the greatest representative for this company to be the top guy, and I'm going to let the WWE champion know it dead last. Boom. Like, I don't know. I guess I just got really hyped that we're back to reviews, and I wanted to have a little fun with this and not just say, like, oh, the Universal title sucks, or excuse me, the 24/7 title sucks. Let's move on. And I just really wanted to show where I see the possibility with the 24/7 title. So I thank you guys for giving me that time. Do you have anything you want to say about the 7-way or just anything we've discussed here?
No. I mean, I think that the biggest thing that you said that I just want to double down on is what the fuck are they doing with Tucker?
Dude, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I never thought I'd do the day that I'd call myself this, but I'm like a fan of Tucker Knight. I actually think that he's really talented. He's a good enough talker. I don't think he's an amazing talker, but I do think he's a good talker. And he's being made a complete joke out of, like, what, a week and a couple days after betraying his best friend? What the fuck?
Yeah, dude, it's so tonally off base.
Yeah.
Because it's like you do all of this and it was literally for nothing. And like,
but you know what, though, dude? Yeah. I think in kayfabe, they're going to justify it with, like, oh, wow, this is so crazy. He betrays Otis and immediately finds success. He's already a former 24/7 champion.
Yeah, you're not even wrong. I'm not even going to belabor that point because you're absolutely right. But, dude, we go from that to really possibly the highlight of the fucking show. I mean, I'm gonna have to have you talk about this first because I'm ready to like fucking jizz my goddamn pants here.
Ali?
Ali and Ricochet. What did you think about this match?
Yes, this was so fucking good, dude. This match should have been a pay-per-view match. Let's be real.
Yes.
This match should have been on pay-per-view. Ali might be number 1 on my main roster, Fave 5 right now, honestly. He's so fucking good. And even like when he's not cutting a promo for a camera, he cuts amazing promos in the ring too, telling Ricochet shit like things aren't going to change until you make the change. Like, holy shit, I love this dude.
Dude, again, like I wanted you to talk first because I really feel like I'm about to go. Holy fuck, this match.
Yeah.
The selling was great. The emotion was great. Y'all, fam, that was the best fucking lung blower I've ever seen in my life from Ali to Ricochet, like off the fucking, I think it was like middle rope or maybe even top rope. I've never seen anything like that. Never fucking seen anything like that. And bro, can you and I just talk for a second about how intelligent it was, the fucking finish with Ali using the Koji clutch? How intelligent it fucking is that now that he's a heel, he ain't fucking winning matches with the 05
With the 450, I know, dude. He's so fucking smart.
Dude, I love what? I just what?
You want to talk about a face of the company? If Vince didn't have his fucking hang-ups about body and size, Ali would be the face of this goddamn company by now.
Dude, we already talked, you and I.
You need to bring back Lucha Underground if for no other reason so that Mustafa Ali can be the head face of the goddamn company.
Yeah, Ali. And by the way, guys, I should retroactively apologize because I knew I was going to fucking do it. I'm horrible, too, about pronouncing his name. And I swear, Ali, I'm getting ready to call him King Ali here in a minute. That's like no disrespect. I'm just awful. But Mustafa, see, goddammit, I do it again. I'm just going to call him Ali. That's easier for me, unfortunately. He's so goddamn good. And I know we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this in a commentary or what, but like, you know, Retribution did kind of distract Ricochet a little bit, and I only forgive it because, you know, they're fucking big, menacing people. And Ali, you know, he did come from 205, and that's not trying to be pejorative like Kevin Nash, like, oh, vanilla midgets kind of thing. No, it's just, yeah, like, see, this is how you do a small guy that hasn't done anything yet with the big dudes. That's why I feel like with AJ, it hits different because, well, he's already been a world champion. Ali, having never won the world title or any title for that matter, it makes sense that you're going to want to be packing heat. And fucking Retribution is your heat. This was a great fucking match. I am so proud of Mustafa Ali. This dude has not given up on himself, and we have not given up on him. I want to officially declare on this podcast, because I already did preemptively on Twitter, this man is my uncrowned WWE champion, and I will keep referring to him as such until they fucking rectify it. This dude can talk. This dude can work. And fucking look at him. Look at, like, we always say how the best heels are ones that are fucking good looking. And I know I've even heard people say that, like, when the live action Aladdin movie was first in production, like, cast Mustafa Ali. I remember people saying that. Even if you wanted to cast him as fucking Jafar, like, people could fucking buy it. And, like, yeah, like, the dude's got everything. And it's amazing. He's so good. Dude, you said he might be number 1 for your main roster Fave 5, and the way I'm gushing over him, you and I might share that. Just giving you a warning. It might be one where we just share one and you can talk about him first.
I think it might come down to him and Zayn, honestly.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no fucking lies. And keep in mind, folks, something. I just said that to Ashton knowing that Morrison's on the roster.
Yeah.
That's insane. And with me starting to actively watch the product again, which Morrison made me very happy that I did, which we'll get to that in just a few moments. That just tells you how fucking good Mustafa Ali is. When I have the rich fucking history with Morrison that I do, and I'm like, Ali is just undeniable. He's undeniable, and he's the uncrowned WWE champion. That's my fucking case.
I love that Vince is like, these Antifa sons of bitches are never going to win anything in my company. And Ali's just like, thanks for the platform, bitch.
Yeah. And he did win our fucking hearts.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So, Dude, I love that you and I just love this match. This was easily the highlight of Raw to me.
And dude, here's the crazy thing. We both just gushed over how great this match itself was. Only 14 minutes. It didn't even go that crazy long.
Yeah, didn't overstay its welcome. Told a perfect story. Ali got the win again with a fucking submission, which is so intelligent. Oh my god.
Koji.
Yes.
And it was dudes too. Like another thing that we didn't mention, Ricochet, the crash and burn that directly was, preceded by the Koji clutch was Phoenix or Ricochet going for a Phoenix splash.
Yeah, dude. And you know what I love about the Koji clutch too from an aesthetic standpoint? Because I've always been partial to that submission. I love that Ali can look his opponent right in the eyes and talk smack while he's got the submission in on him.
And I love that he didn't get Ricochet to tap out. Ricochet just passed out. He made Ricochet helpless.
Yeah. And maybe you need to be helpless and lose everything before you can do anything. And maybe, I don't know if Ricochet will join Retribution. I think anything to give him some semblance of a personality would be good. Because
I was hoping he would join the Hurt Business there for a while, just for that very reason, just because the dude needs some kind of personality, and he just doesn't really have a good one.
Yeah, I mean, he's got it in the ring. If you would just have somebody to talk for him, which Ali could talk for him or MVP could talk for him, you're fucking made, dude. Just wind him up and let him go. As long as you've got somebody hyping up his fights, you got it. You fucking got it. So yeah, that happened. That was a fucking cosmic experience, and I want to let Mustafa Ali into my fucking computer screen, into my fucking veins, everything. And while I'm waiting to do that, I am going to get better about pronouncing his name. So big respect to the uncrowned WWE champion. But we get announced that Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE title is happening next week. Orton loses his shit on Adam Pearce. I said here that he's apoplectic.
He really did. You got to realize too, my mom was freaked out by this. I don't think she realizes that Adam Pearce used to be a wrestler. So she got really freaked out when Orton slammed him up against the wall.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, well, you know what, Pierce? You tell the company to go to hell.
I know. I loved that too. Because, I shouldn't say I loved that. I actually didn't like that. I was like, oh my god, why does this have to be PG? You could tell he wanted to say, go fuck themselves.
Yeah. But I still love, though, that they're playing with that whole idea of a paranoid Orton, and then we go from that right to our 6-man main event. God, we're fucking on that king tier shit. We're already at the main event of Raw.
And there's not even that much to talk about for this. I mean, I know you're going to talk about some of your favorite highlights from the match because, I mean, let's be real, John Morrison stole the fucking show as usual here.
He did! Oh my God.
But there isn't that much else to talk about.
I love when intelligent people have the correct takes. You're the intelligent person in this instance. Because you're right. I mean, dude, in all seriousness, I do love me some Jomo. That's obvious. I mean, I don't even know what sound I just fucking made. Am I 28 or am I 14? I don't even know the difference. But I really did enjoy, everybody here. The babyface team is charismatic as fuck in Drew and the New Day. Xavier is such a good seller, and Kofi's always been solid. That's why I was happy he got his WWE title run. He's endearing. He's a class act. I mean, dude, people in the fucking company wanted Kofi Mania. That just shows you what kind of a locker room leader he is. And Drew is just still on top of his game, which is so heartening to see because I always worry when guys that were really hot lose the title, what happens. But Drew's charisma, it wasn't an accident. It's just a part of who he is. I love that Orton refuses to get involved in the match, and he just hates his life right now. He's a 14-time world champion, and he wants to be anywhere but here. And, yeah, just to get to Morrison without turning it into a mark fest, I mean, he does a dive in this fucking match, goes off the ropes, pretty much does almost like a Fosbury flop, but he gets full body-on-body contact. It is fucking gorgeous how he hits this at full fucking speed. And he does a great bump for the Glasgow Kiss. Just looks knocked.
Dude, the fucking
out.
Corkscrew crossbody that he did blew my mind.
Dude, 40 years old and doing shit like this.
Yeah.
Step your fucking game up, Dad Bod. Jesus Christ. I mean, I know he's
I mean, I was going to say, Dad Bod's 50 now.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, Morrison's going to reach Suzuki levels of fucking enlightenment when he's 50. Completely different style, but I can see it.
He's still going to be planching his ass off even then.
Yeah, and you know what? Oh God, what's his fucking name? What's his fucking? Oh yeah. Okay, so when he's 50 and he's doing that, and he actually does dives and they look good. I know it'll be too late for him, but maybe we'll find a way for somebody to retroactively take notes. CPO, thinking that you can fucking bump and you get a fucking pop. This is how you fucking do dives, and I hope he is still doing it in fucking 10 years. Javaris didn't even know that he was 40. He's 40 and he's doing this shit, bro. I know, it's fucking nuts. So yeah, Morrison ends up eating the pin, which obviously it's like, grr, but I understand where his position is on the card, so I'm not going to gripe about it. He fucking did great in his role, even early in the match. Like, Drew did a spot where he throttled Morrison in the corner, and he really bumped for it. Like, dude, that's the only reason why I want Miz to succeed in his cash-in, because that just puts Morrison that much closer to the WWE title, and I'm like, just one fucking run. The same way with Suzuki. It's funny that I made the comparison, because I just want one run for Suzuki, even if it was a month. Same way with Morrison. One run, even if it was a month, even if it was a transitional champion. I think it'd be fucking great. But yeah, all 6 guys did great. I'm actually enjoying Orton as WWE champion, which just feels so weird. But yeah, it was a fun episode of Raw. Again, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed recapping it with you here. Did you have any highlights that you wanted to make about the tag match?
Really just the Morrison plancha, like the corkscrew plancha that he did was like the biggest thing for me that stood out.
He is such an...
The Orton, like, character beat of just being unable or unwilling to... I almost kind of like that Orton was unwilling to do that, because, like, I feel like he was probably thinking about not participating in the tag match before he heard the news that he's going to be wrestling Drew next week. But when he found out, he was like, okay, well, now I'm definitely not going to wrestle here. Because we've got to remember, he was literally partners with a guy that wants to take his title from him in The Miz with Money in the Bank.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, like, that right there is, like, I actually think that Orton, maybe the reason that you are enjoying Orton so much is because of how well he's being written right now. And the reason I'm not is because I just hate his delivery and how boring he is when he talks.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think, because I was even about to say, dude, that I feel like he was written so well on this episode. Like, everything he did and everything he said made sense from his vantage
so
point.
Weird how WWE is terrible with 90 to 95% of their writing, and then, like, there is no in between, because the other 5 to 10% is like, holy shit, this is really, really good television.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. So these guys did great. Nothing more to say about that. I'm guessing you have nothing else you want to add about the tag match?
Correct.
Okay, then let's get into our final segment, high spots and low shots. I'm just going to get straight away here. My low shot is Tucker, for the reasons that we talked about in that extended segment. Sold out everything, and only so far as being a 2-time 24/7 champion to show for it. So who's your low shot?
I'm just going to kind of stick with silliness here and go with Lana as my low shot, because no matter what happens in the future, no matter if she ever gets a comeuppance or on Lana or on Nia or not, at the end of the day, this woman got her ass beat twice tonight.
Absolutely. My high spot, I don't even care if we share one. I'm kind of hoping we do. I got to.
You know what, dude? We're not actually going to, because I did have 2 names in mind. So whoever you pick, I'm going to go with the other one. But yeah, I'm going to sign on to yours regardless.
Okay, you know what I want to do then? I want to give my actual high spot. Then I want you to give yours, so I don't potentially take steam out of yourselves. And then I would like to give who my honorary high spot was, just so that we don't cross wires. So my high spot's Mustafa Ali.
Right, of course. Yes.
Fucking
agreed.
Dude.
Sign on.
So good. So good.
I think we can agree that Ali gets the gold, and whoever I mention gets the silver, and then depending on if who your honorable mention is the same guy that I'm going to mention or not, we'll either just agree that they get the silver, or the guy that you mentioned is going to get bronze.
Yeah, okay. So who you got?
Matt Riddle.
Makes perfect sense. Won 2 matches tonight.
Not only did he win 2 matches, but he also had one of the most entertaining promos of the night.
One of those entertaining promos, and when you look at a qualitative standpoint, one of the matches was to go to Survivor Series. It was going to be on pay-per-view.
Exactly.
It was, dude.
Yeah, like we got to see him earn his way into the club and then prove that he's one of the best people in the club in the same night.
Yeah, dude. Excellent soundbite. I'm not going to add anything to that. I'll say that my 2 honorary high spots, now I really can flex and show both that I had, because you didn't have that. Hurt Business, just as a faction, they continue to put a smile on my face and the most entertaining thing. And then honestly, just because I was feeling myself, I don't know, first Raw review back in a minute, Randy Orton. I enjoyed him tonight.
So who takes bronze?
I guess Orton would take bronze for me if I was to do a hierarchy of the two honorable mentions, because Hurt Business has been far more consistent than Orton has. But just on this one particular night, I wanted to give Orton something because I just really loved how he was written, and I thought for his part he mostly did his part like very well. And
so leaving Hurt Business out in the cold.
Well, no, I'm saying Hurt Business would get silver if I'm organizing the honorable.
Well, no, but we agreed that Matt Riddle got silver between the two of us, and we're trying.
So okay, then let me clarify then. Hurt Business would get bronze then, because I was confused. I had a brain fart there. I apologize. Gotcha. I thought you meant in my own hierarchy of high spots. No,
bro, I just want to let you know, you giving all this credit to Orton has pissed my mom off so much that she's sitting up in her chair.
I'm just being honest.
She's getting ready to get a flight to fucking New Hampshire and whoop your ass.
I'm just saying, I thought he did really well with this material tonight.
No, I know, but he's going against Drew, and she hates that because he loves Drew.
I love Drew too. I haven't even badmouthed Drew tonight. I've given him a lot of credit, but I don't know. Like,
it's one of those situations though where John's just like, Randy Orton was really good tonight, and my mom's just like, bitch, what?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, whoa, chill, everybody, chill. But no, I'm glad you clarified that. I apologize for my brain fart. I thought you were talking about my high spot specifically. No, her business takes bronze. But I did just want to give a nod to Orton as well, because he did have a really good night tonight. So, with that said, do you have anything else you want to say about Raw tonight?
Orton gets aluminum.
There you go. There you fucking go.
Did you hear her?
No.
She said, how about a swift kick in the ass instead?
I mean, don't threaten me with a good time. So, yeah, I've got nothing else to say about Raw tonight. Do you?
Go ahead.
All right, guys, with that said, this has been Monday Night Raw. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-Orton commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to please like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Raw reviews on YouTube. And we'd like to think we're the best at what we do, so we'd be pretty comfortable at the top. Help us get there, leave a like. Be sure to comment and comment when the video is done processing. Do you think the title's going to change hands before Survivor Series? We know Orton and Drew is happening, as well as, let's not forget, Cedric and Shelton versus the New Day for the tag titles. Will we get a title change at all next week? What do you guys think? What was your favorite moment of Raw tonight? And really, you know what, this is kind of a biased one, but show your love for Mustafa Ali, guys. Just talk about like how you felt about the match with Ricochet, the promo, Retribution, not Hurt Business, Retribution, get back on track. Talk to us. Subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you never again miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. You guys already know everything we're involved in this Green Box because my partner here makes immaculate backgrounds that advertise everything we're a part of, as well as posting all the links in the description. Two things that I would talk about very quickly are, one, the Patreon specifically. We've got new tiers now because we've given up catch-up commentary, as you know, which is why we're here. So you can look at the breakdowns for how we're going to be doing reviews month by month going forward. But also the two main things I like to plug on the Patreon specifically are a Q&A coming up. That is going to be November, I want to say 26th. And I'm correct. Look at my fucking face.
Yeah, it's literally on Thanksgiving.
Exactly. So be sure to give your thanks and your questions to TWitWoW on Thanksgiving Day. And 5 questions for Patreon donors. Only costs $1 to get additional Q&A questions because non-Patreon donors get 3 questions. And speaking of the number 3, that's also the dollar amount to get access to the TWitWoW Discord. It only costs $3 a month. You can obviously submit your questions there, and it is a great community. We've got live wrestling discussion. And I know people use that to give breakdowns, like play-by-play of things going on products that we don't watch. Happened very recently with Full Gear on Saturday.
Oh, we talk all wrestling, though. Even stuff that we do watch. If it's happening live, we talk about it in that channel now.
Absolutely. If it's happening live.
Channel to talk about Raw tonight, actually, in the Discord.
Yeah, I did see that as well. So if any wrestling's happening live, we got that for you. We got sports. We even have a non-suitable for work chat. I haven't really even gotten as freaky in that as you might expect. I don't know if that's people's disappointment into relief,
it's way tamer than I ever intended it to be.
yeah, exactly. Hey, give it time. Give it time.
When the last actual NSFW anything that was posted in there was like an EO ass pick or something.
Yeah. So, we what I'm essentially trying to say about the Discord is it's a great community with a little something for everybody. So yeah, just consider parting with those $3 a month. And yeah, guys, we will see you again tomorrow, actually, at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, because we're doing a little TWitWoW request live. And we're going all the way back in time to 2008 for the Royal Rumble. Who's going to go to the main event of WrestleMania 24. I hope I got that right, because if I did, what a great plug by me there. But
Yes.
yeah, that's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Wednesday, I guess we could say at 5 maybe. I'm thinking we're hoping to do Stardom if they get the full show out, which it's looking like they will possibly, because I think they already have 4 matches up. So you could look out for that Wednesday at 5, and then of course at 10 we'll be reviewing NXT. We know Johnny Gargano is going to be defending the North American Championship. They've made a big stink about Johnny's never successfully defended a championship, and they have the complete show up. I just looked on Stardom, guys; they're done. So we will be doing that Wednesday at 5. I can say that to you definitively now. Man, Stardom, keep up this upload energy. I love it. So we'll be doing Stardom at 5. And then after that, 10 again, NXT. I just mentioned we're going to have a North American title match. And also, we've got Team 1-2 now with Pat McAfee defending the titles in a rematch against Breezango. So we will see how that goes. So you got a doubleheader on Wednesday. You're going to have your Stardom goodness, and you're going to have your fill of NXT. And then Thursday, we've got a JBL Matchathon, 5 JBL match live reactions. And just to round out the week, Ashton, am I forgetting anything? Potentially, because I know
sorry. What was that?
Well, because I said Tuesday we got Rumble 08 live reactions.
Right.
Wednesday we are going to do Stardom because I just looked in the full show.
And then NXT review, and then Thursday we've got the JBL Matchathon.
Yes. So then
Friday we've got more Stardom.
Okay, Friday more Stardom.
And then of course the SmackDown review, and then nothing Saturday or Sunday.
All right, so then that's Friday. We'll be.
That's right. Friday we've also got 205 live reactions because that was a request.
That's right. So SmackDown review won't be till 11. That's right. Yeah, that's why I always like checking in with Ashton, guys, because I'd rather get it right and just take my time than like get it wrong and try and rush through this. So Friday's actually going to be a fucking triple header because we'll hopefully have Stardom, which again that is on them. But if they keep up this upload speed, I'm pretty confident. Then we'll have a 205 live, which that'll be at 10 p.m. and then SmackDown review at 11. So that's the rest of the week, guys. It's going to be TWitWoW request on Tuesday, Stardom and NXT on Wednesday, TWitWoW request on Thursday, and then Stardom 205, again, another 12 request, and SmackDown Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, we're off. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun week. Let's all enjoy it as best we can. As always, guys, be good to yourselves and each other. Take care of yourselves out there. I hope we could make you feel relaxed for this hour and over 40 and some change here, talking about Monday Night Raw. And we'll see you tomorrow for Royal Rumble 2008. So until then, guys, you know what to do. Tune in. Peace out.